Hello, welcome back everyone to Eagles Power Hour. I'm your host, Patrick Frakes, and we are here talking about the loss to UC Davis. Man, in my head, this is another one possession loss. Uh, Eastern left 3 points on the board in the kicking game. Just extra points. We missed our first extra point, and after that, we kept going for two to try to make up for it. So, I mean, if you just make an extra point for those three times that missed extra point and two point conversions that did not go well, this is a 7 point game. Another one possession loss for the Eags. That's kind of what it feels like more than anything to me. And just a reaction to me. This game felt a lot like the Montana game, as in, Eastern just dug themselves a hole early and just didn't have enough juice to get out of it, and it never like Eastern's playing from behind the whole game, and they had a 3-0 lead at the beginning of the game, and the Eagles just the defense just down the stretch couldn't make the big plays. And you know, I mean, it's frustrating because like you come out of this bittersweet. It's like, hey, Eastern is a very talented squad that can win these games, that can win games like this against really good teams. Davis is a top 10 team in the country. Think about the Montana game. Like Montana was a top 10 team in the country at the time. And Eastern should have beat it. I mean, honestly, Eastern probably, if they play a little bit better, they probably win both of these games. And it's just bittersweet as an Eagle fan because it's like it almost feels like some of the talent on this team is just being, I don't know, it feels a little bit like it's being wasted sometimes because like, dude, like I, I don't know, this is just this is the emotional fan coming out right now. It feels like this Eagle team has so much untapped potential that is just held back by scheme stuff. And it's frustrating as an Eagle fan that just, it just sucks because, like, it feels like this Eagle team is so much better than it is. And that's what makes it so much more disappointing than, hey, 2022, you're coming off of a big year. You have to reload a lot of positions. Cool. A little bit of a down year in 2022. Okay, well, we'll bounce back to 2023. 2023 was still pretty rocky, but you saw some of the improvements from 2022. You have some excitement from a talented quarterback, a really talented core of receivers, and you move on to 2024, and you have a new defensive coordinator, and feels like the talent is there enough to be okay defensively and be really good offensively. And I don't know if we've really been either, right? I mean, the offense has been steady and good, by far an above average Big Sky offense, but still feels like the offense is held back sometimes by just play calling stuff. And the defense is just, I don't know. I don't think this defense is the worst talented defense in the conference at all. I think there's 4 or 5 defensive units that are less talented than Eastern Washington's. And Eastern's probably down there right now. Statistically, Eastern is down there with the worst teams in the conference defensively when you look at the stats, and it's really unfortunate because, I mean, I think this Eagle team's a lot better than giving up 40 points a game, and it's been tough, man. It's been a tough season to watch just because we saw that in the Sacramento State game. Like we saw that this Eagle team, if they kind of slow down the big plays, they're okay. But man, it just didn't happen in this Davis game, and really Eastern just kind of got themselves in a hole in that second quarter. Gave up a whole bunch of points on explosive plays, and after that, I mean, Eastern outscored UC Davis in the second half. It just, they dug themselves such a big hole in that second quarter, giving up 28 straight points. I mean, it wasn't 28 straight, but Was it 28 straight? Hold up, let me look really quick. No, it wasn't 28 straight, but it pretty much functioned like 28 straight points. Um, so you know, it's just I don't know, man. You eliminate one or two of those big plays, it's different ball game. But let's let's go into our typical thematic framing here. Let's go what went well first, just because I sound so pissy right now. Well, what went well? I think it's Afton Chisholm, man. Afton Chisholm, uh, 15 receptions, 170 yards and a touchdown, had a long 61-yard catch, as well as shout out to Garrett Wesley, or Wesley Garrett, excuse me, and he had one of his he had his best game of his career, his first career catch, first career touchdown catch, 7 catches for 76 yards in this game. Definitely stepped up big in the absence of Nolan Olm, Miles Williams, and it feels like the entire receiver room is out right now, or at least everyone that's played besides Chisholm is out right now. Um, you know, so Chisholm was awesome. Kikoa had some struggles early in this game, but when you look at his stat line, he was under duress a lot this game. I think the offensive line had a tough game. The Davis front's pretty good, but Kikoa had 30 completions on 42 attempts, 319 yards, and 2 touchdowns, long as 61, and he was sacked twice. Um, Early I think the pressure kind of got to him a little bit in his head, and so he kind of struggled in that first half throwing the ball, but um, later in the game he kind of settled down, and especially in that third quarter he looked really good through the air, and I don't know, I was pretty happy with Kiko overall. Um, Another thing that went well, just the special teams as a whole, I thought was pretty solid. You had the missed extra point, but Eastern was 2 for 2 on field goals, and Michael Wortham had several um, really big returns. Let's see, Landon Ogles averaged right around 40 yards a punt. He landed one. He had two 50 plus yard kicks in this game, and Landon Ogles was good as he usually is. The average kickoff return was 43 yards for Michael Wortham. I think he only returned two or three of them, which was nuts. You know, Looking at a few other, um, you know, Eastern. Another thing that went well. Hey, Eastern finally got to the quarterback a little bit. 3 sacks for 22 yards, and in spurts, man, the Eagle defense looked good. I mean, they it's just for me Eastern just gives up so many. There's the explosive plays that are backbreakers for Eastern Washington, and like Eastern has the offense to keep up with teams and outscore teams if they just slow down another offense. You don't have to stop it, you just have to slow it down a little bit. And I don't know, like personally, I feel like this style of defense that Eastern is playing just doesn't fully suit. One, I don't feel like it fully suits the talent, but two, I just think I just don't think it's. I think it feels like a not unsustainable defensive style to an extent. Uh, I mean, we run a ton of man coverage, tons and tons and tons of man coverage, and when we do go to zone, it's typically a two deep zone, more than anything. A little bit of quarters, not a ton, but it seems like a lot of the explosive plays come in man, and it's tough to play man coverage against good talented teams like a UC Davis who has some of the best skill talent in the whole country. And looking down the schedule next week, we have Idaho who has a couple really nice receivers, but and then you have looking even further down the schedule, you have Montana State who's dangerous as always. If you're playing man, it's going to be tough to stop the run and man with no help from those guys in the zone reading it and coming up and playing in the box. You look at Idaho State, you look at NAU. Like these are relatively solid teams that have talent on the outside to beat you in man coverage. Um, Maybe this is just an opinion of mine. I think playing a little bit softer coverage might benefit this team. I feel like it would benefit the team as a whole in the way that I think it would just slow down the explosive plays. Um, I'm really curious how many plays over 30, 40 yards that Davis had in this game because that felt like a ton. And you know, you eliminate like two or three really explosive run plays. I felt like Eastern stopped the run okay. It was just the explosive busted coverages that just killed Eastern Washington. And man, it's unfortunate and it sucks. But Eastern gave up 550 yards of offense once again. Uh, you know, let's see, 8 yards of play, 48 points. That's just not good, and on no turnovers for Eastern. So, um, you know, uh, it's just it sucks. It feels like Eastern's a lot better than the stats are showing right now. What didn't go well? I've been kind of ranting about that, but it is the defense. The defense is just giving up too many explosive plays, and I don't know. I was kind of disappointed to see some of the. I mean, we went back to a lot more of an aggressive style that we it seemed like we kind of shaded away from a little bit versus Sacramento State, and it kind of bit us a couple times. Um, One of them that comes to mind is we had at Davis in a 3rd and long, and we showed some sort of blitz where we disguised a blitz and we blitzed, and then it left us in man coverage, and the guy that was guarding Land Larison was on the opposite. He was the opposite linebacker from him, and Land just went on a little swing route, and it was just there's just no shot for Miles Mayoski to run all the way across the field and go catch him, and all of a sudden it's a 20-yard run, 20+ yard play on 3rd and long, and we give up a huge back breaking 3rd down. Um, it's just things like that. It just really it sucks. It hurts as an Eag fan. Like it's unfortunate because it feels like a few little tweaks in this team could be again like this to me it was another one possession game essentially if we don't give away a few points. And again, like if Eastern hops on one of those fumbles, that's the one or two. I think there's two fumbles that happened that Eastern did not jump on. They did jump on one fumble, but you know, later in the game, Land Larson fumbled the ball. It bounced right into Miles Hastings' hands. Early in the game, uh, Mateo dropped a punt and it bounced, and then he just jumped on it. And, you know, it was two turnover opportunities that just didn't bounce the Eagles' way. Hey, you pick up one of those and you just go score. This game is just different, right? And oh man, it's just again, it's just bittersweet. It's you see the talent, you see the potential for this Eagle team, and then it just stings because it's like you know what's going to happen at the end of the game. You know that eventually Eastern's not going to win this game. Hitting on the offensive side of things, what did not go well? Man, the run game really, really struggled to get going in this game. Let me look at the stats really quick. 109 total yards gained, only 81 net yards, and that's because Kikoa lost 20 yards on sacks. There was a lot of, I mean, this is probably the worst performance we've seen from the Eagle offensive line this year. In terms of just, I felt like they did not. I felt like they didn't play their best overall. And they're missing a guy who stepped in and started a couple games in Matthew Hiwa Batige, I think is how you pronounce it. Sorry, Matt, if you're listening. But they're missing him, he's been a really solid piece the last few weeks in the absence of Dylan Connor, but Dylan Connor was back, and I don't know, they just didn't get great push. I honestly, when I watched this tape, I was pretty impressed with the Davis front four. That big Taki guy or Toki, there's 375 Princeton Toki, 375-pound nose tackle. I was damn impressed with him, and you know, I just you look at some of their stats like Evan Bearden, Zach Kennedy, and Princeton Toki, all like 6 tackles for both Bearden and Kennedy, 4 tackles for Toki. Like their defensive line was just eating in the run game. I was very impressed with UC Davis, and I wasn't very impressed with our offensive line. And I also feel like I wasn't super happy with our play calling, especially early in the game. It really felt like we are kind of being stubborn in a way that it felt like Eastern just wanted to run the ball so bad. Like they're like, we have to run the ball if we want to win this game, and it just wasn't happening. Eastern only averaged 2 yards per carry in this game, and it's just we were not effective at all on the ground. They were too good up front. Their linebackers really good. Their front four is really good. That's absolutely the strength of this UC Davis team. So why we still ran the ball more times than we threw it? Or excuse me, that's not correct. We still ran the ball 34 times in this game, and we went away from it a little bit in the second half, which was good, and that's why I think the scoring ramped up. But I don't know. I felt like I felt like the rushing. I mean, you take away 2 bigger runs, a 19-yard run for Kikoa and a 12-yard run um, for Tuna Altahir. All of a sudden, Eastern netted 50 yards on the ground, and that is insane. 3 rushing touchdowns on only like 50-ish yards. If you take away those 2 bigger plays, that's a pretty poor showing. And after almost 300 on the ground last week, it was pretty disappointing. Malik Dotson did not play in this game, and I think that definitely had an effect on this game. I think Dotson's running style is a little bit. Um, I just think his running style is a little bit better for just gaining chunks of yards, gaining 5 yards, gaining 4 yards. He's a very much downhill, one cut and go kind of guy. Sometimes Tuna can dance a little bit. Kiko likes to dance a little bit. Taylor doesn't like to dance as much, but with Taylor in there, their safeties were at the line of scrimmage at the snap more times than not. Rex Connors and number 7, they both were practically at the line of scrimmage by the snap because they know that Jared Taylor's not going to throw the ball down the field, and it's super super predictable with Jared Taylor in there, and I don't know, he only got 7 rushes in this game, but it's I don't know. Sometimes when he comes in, it just doesn't quite sit right, especially when it hasn't been working. Maybe give him a drive, see how they react. If they clearly really sell out to stop the quarterback run, either one, you got to put him in there and let him throw the ball down the field once or twice, or two, you gotta eliminate the package because it's just wasted downs, wasted time. When you're just running the ball for a yard. You're getting behind the chains, making life harder on second and third down. That's how I feel about it. But man, Jared Taylor's a stud. Like I love Jared Taylor. I like the way he plays, but it's frustrating when he comes in on 3rd and 3 every single time, and we get stuffed probably half the time because they know exactly what's coming every time, and it gets a little old, man. I felt like the play calling could have just been a little bit more creative in this game, and I think we could have had more success early, get the offense going early, and I mean, like the defense obviously did not have a great outing, but guys, the Eastern defense got four straight stops in this game at one point. Four straight stops in this game. In Eastern, they only got five stops in the game in terms of uh, not allowing any points. Seven stops if you consider forcing two field goals. I'm comfortable calling that seven stops in this game. And Eastern they weren't able to capitalize off those stops. And I don't really want to blame the offense for this because I mean you score 38 points, you should win that game. And man, I just Eastern just wasn't able to do it today or Saturday. I'm recording this on Monday, but um, you know that's most of the big hitters. It's it's getting to the point where it's kind of the same old song and dance right now, right? Um, wow, I just opened the Eastern drive chart for the first half. Punt, field goal, punt, 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 touchdown, punt, halftime, and you know three straight three and outs in that second half or in that first half, excuse me. Two of those coming off of defensive stops. Man, that's just sucks, dude. That really sucks if your defense just getting no points off of your stops that we know are precious. Um, right, but the Eastern offense just wasn't quite efficient enough. 4 3 and outs in this game. I hate 3 and outs. 5 3 and outs in this game. I hate 3 and outs. But oh man, yeah, another frustrating game. Bittersweet. We know Eastern has the talent to win any of these games, dude. The only game that right now I consider almost a no contest because it's going to be very hard to knock them off is the game versus Montana State. Montana State's just ahead above everyone else, but I mean Eastern can beat anyone in the Big Sky this year. Anyone. I think Eastern can beat Idaho this week. I absolutely do think Eastern can beat Idaho this week. Eastern could have beat UC Davis this week. Eastern could have beat Montana 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, whatever that was. Eastern could have easily beaten Drake, obviously. Eastern could have beaten CELA. And, man, it's just right now it feels like just another essentially one possession loss to add to the tally. And eventually one possession losses no longer have any sort of there's no more moral victory to it, right? So, um, man, just looking at the schedule right now, I mean, this is we're past the halfway point of the season right now. Playoffs are officially just not on the table anymore. We got 5 weeks of football left in 2024. 5 more weeks to watch these seniors that there's so many of them. Two more chances to get out to Roos and see these seniors. Everyone, if you can, get to Moscow. The KB Dome is a really fun place to play, fun place to watch a game. I've been to many games there as a U of I student, so it's a really fun place to watch a football game, a fun environment, and I really encourage everyone to get to the KB Dome this week. I will be there. If you see me, say hi. But man, another bittersweet loss, man. It's like a little twinkle in my eye when Eastern clear like the talent is there. It makes me happy that the talent is there, but it also makes me sad that the talent is there because to me it points that the reason this team isn't winning games is not the Jimmies and Joes. It's not like we're just not big enough, not fast enough. Obviously there's some position groups that were not the best in the country. No shit, like obviously, but I mean, I just other defenses are just so much more disciplined and they just run better, and other offenses just seem to click better and feels like on third down, the other team is always one step ahead of us. And in this game, honestly, it was one of our better third down defense games on the season as a whole. But I mean, it's just the big plays, man. The broken coverages, the big breakaway runs, I mean, teams are literally pointing out what they're going to do pre-snap, and we still can't stop it. And that happened a couple times where, I mean, on a there's an RPO down on the goal line, their receiver literally goes, "Hey, I'm going to be open," and then they just throw the slant. It's a touchdown. So obviously, I mean that secondary has a lot of young kids on it, but it feels like the potential is just so much better than where they are right now. And again, I feel like they're being a little bit held back by some scheme stuff. I want to see Eastern when my impression of Coach Sanders when I first kind of did my research on him and what he'd done in the past was he was going to be more of a 4-2-5 cover four quarters type of defense. And when you look at the best defenses in the country, Idaho, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, all three of those teams run a lot of 4-2-5 cover four quarters type looks, and they kind of let their D line get after it, which I think Eastern's D line is built to do, and kind of just their defensive roster is more built to do than anything. And yeah, man, that's about all I got. Another frustrating loss. Another. I mean, it's just Eastern can beat anyone this year. Aside from maybe the top four teams in the country, I think Eastern can compete with anyone. I think Eastern can compete with Montana State too. I mean, at home they historically have, but I mean this year I think it's a little bit different Montana State team than we're used to. But um, yeah, guys, just get out and support these guys. You're only gonna get to watch Efton Chisholm on the red two more times. Get out and watch these guys because man, Chisholm, class A human, class A player, and just get out and support these guys, dude. Get out and support this whole offensive line. I mean, Wyatt Hansen, freaking awesome, dude. You look at, I mean, Luke Dahlgren has been here forever, a captain. You look at Jack Seeley, a guy that has put in his time at Eastern, came from JUCO and really kind of excelled last year and has just gotten better this year. Brendan Rivera, a guy that's been here forever, an awesome dude. You think of I think Noah Stewart will be back next year, but Matt Hiwabadige, another senior that's been here forever, another big Canadian dude. Uh, get out. Tuna is a senior this year, I believe. Um, Nolan Olm guys. So many, great Eagles that are going to be finishing out their Eagle career here next few weeks. Get get out there and watch these guys as many times as you can. I know that the product on the field is frustrating, but at some point it's got to be about the people, right? Not just the things. So get out and support these guys. The results may be frustrating, but uh, I think the players deserve good home crowds these next two home games. A nice visiting Eagle cheers section in Moscow next week, and I hope to see everyone there in Moscow this week. I'll be there. It should be a fun time. Should be. I mean, again, it should be a competitive game. I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it'll be another one possession game. Which way it goes, I don't know. We will see. But that's it for me, guys. Recapping another, frustrating loss to Eastern Washington. But looking forward, hey, it's Idaho Hate Week for me and for all my friends. I always like Idaho, but uh, I'm an Eag this week. I'm a 100% Eag fan, so don't question that. All right, thanks everyone for listening, and we will catch you on Thursday for the Idaho preview.